Joining us now is Bryce Knorr, Senior Market Analyst with Farm Futures Magazine. Bryce, thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, good morning, Robert.
Hey, we will start with the grain markets. How are they looking on this early Monday morning?
Well, unfortunately, they're in sorry shape again to start the week. Corn and soybeans both gapped lower on the open Sunday night and really never looked back. Wheat holding up a little better, but it's also lower. These bearish gaps in the corn and soybeans point to perhaps lower prices ahead as the market looks like it wants to make a bottom now. As before we head into the August 12th USDA report, when we get the first real estimate of how big these corn and soybean crops are.
Now we're heading into the end of July, heading on into August. We've got some combining being done as we transfer into more of the harvesting type time. What is some of the key things to be looking at as we head through the next few weeks and months?
Well, we're going to have to look at how the demand for wheat is holding up, particularly how the crops are faring around the world. We haven't had a great growing season in many places. However, we haven't had any real disasters that might boost demand for U.S. wheat. So it doesn't look like there's a particularly robust demand out there, but there could be good demand for individual characteristics of wheat. Unfortunately, I don't think the high protein wheat is going to be in very high demand this year. It's mostly going to be the lower protein wheat that consumers around the world are going to be scrambling to buy.
Now we're still in the midst of barbecue season. How are the livestock markets been trending?
Well, unfortunately, it looks like we're also trying to make a seasonal low here in the cattle and perhaps the hog market as well. The cattle market's really gotten beaten up lately. The cattle inventory came out on Friday, showed the nation's ranchers are finally starting to rebuild the cattle herd. It's going to take a long time for that beef to hit the market. Prices are going to stay high. That could curb demand. But right now, it looks like we do have enough supplies, particularly that a lot of cheap pork out there that's cutting into beef's market share.
Oil prices continue to be fairly low at 48 and change as of this morning. What, if any, effect has that had on the biofuels market and transportation costs as we get into harvest season?
Well, it's going to cheapen up the cost of moving the grain, but it has hurt the ethanol margins. Now, one thing we do have to watch out for, particularly today, is the impact of these outside markets. Chinese stocks fell 8.5% today alone, and that has the financial markets extremely worried as the Federal Reserve begins a two-day meeting tomorrow where it won't be raising interest rates, but it could be giving more clues as to when that may happen.
Awesome. Thanks for your time this morning, Bryce. All right, once again, that was Bryce Knorr, Senior Market Analyst with Farm Futures Magazine. Stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your weather right after the break and give you a sneak peek at what's coming up next on the Valley Today.